This is the new Trans Am. And it's very hungry.
Pontiac's Trans Am was one of the most recognizable muscle car names in popular culture and American history. Today, it's a classic car with a cult following. In 1969, Pontiac introduced the Firebird Trans Am, which was manufactured until 2002. Because this muscle car's design was so unique, it immediately attracted buyers and was cast in movies. That's one of the reasons why it continues to gain new fans today. However, people seem to ignore how cool this car really is. Every now and then, Pontiac would update the Firebird Trans Am or introduce a special edition of the model to keep it fresh. This list ranks the 10 best model years of the iconic nameplate from 1982, the year of the Knight Rider fame, to 1989, the year of the beloved Turbo. At number 10 is the 1969 Trans Am. This list would not be complete without the very first Trans Am. Pontiac wanted to build a car for racing in the Trans Am series, but GM wouldn't allow it. They came up with this clever idea of creating a car that would be perfectly normal on the street, but could easily be modified into a racer. 2 years after launching the Firebird muscle car, they released the Firebird Trans Am. The car had blue stripes and a distinctive body style, and only 697 were produced. At number 9 is the 1974 Trans Am SD455. By the mid-70s, muscle cars had reached their peak. There was a perception that muscle cars that year would be slower and less attractive than they used to be during their glory days in the late 1960s. When Pontiac introduced the Trans Am SD455, it stood out. The new Firebird Trans Am looked fast and beautiful, and it had the power to back it up. Among its features were an enhanced suspension, better brakes, and a 7.4-liter V8. When it launched, this 290 horsepower motor car was one of the few remaining true muscle cars on the market. Despite this, the Corvettes, Mustangs, Chargers, and Challengers couldn't keep up. At number 8 is the 1970 Trans Am. In the second year of the Trans Am, Pontiac showed us what it could do when no one stopped it from building a bigger, better, and badder muscle car than the first year. In the second generation, the Trans Am received an aggressive spoiler, upgraded brakes, a suspension package, and a new interior package. The added selection of colorways was also appreciated by the people. The 345 horsepower, 6.5-liter V8 sourced from Ram did wonders for the car's popularity and performance. It was made to race in the Trans Am series after all. At number 7 is the 1980 Trans Am Turbo. Let's jump a decade and have a look at this gem. Though the third generation Trans Am was on the horizon, the second generation came out on top in all its glory. At the end of the 1970s, Pontiac began to experiment with turbocharging. With a 4.9-liter V8, the car produced 200 to 210 horsepower, but 340 foot-pound of torque changed everything. Then there is the unique timeless look that will never be forgotten. It's one of the most iconic cars of the 20th century. Next is the 1978 Trans Am Special Edition. As a result of the 1973 oil crisis and recession, muscle cars became a thing of the past. However, Pontiac refused to give up and produced the 1978 Trans Am Special Edition. The Trans Am Special Edition was an impressive automobile. With this special edition, you got it all. A powerful engine that gave you explosive acceleration, a recognizable screaming chicken logo, classic looks, and a rumbling exhaust note. This Trans Am was one of the rare muscle cars from that year that were actually what a muscle car should be. At number 5 is the 2000 Trans Am WS6. A Trans Am's appearance generates countless arguments between those who like and those who do not. If you like the way this Trans Am looks, you're in luck, because this car is one of the most heavily modified Pontiacs ever built. The 5.7-liter V8 engine allowed the WS6 to go from 0 to 60 in just 5 seconds. What's even better? It's a convertible. At number 4 is the 2002 Trans Am WS6. In 2002, people started turning to good, compact, fuel-efficient cars to replace the powerful, flashy muscle cars. Therefore, the 2002 Firebird was the last for us to see. Although Pontiac's final effort might have gone unnoticed in the shadow of the minivans and hatchbacks, it did not disappoint. The last Trans Am was bigger and beefier than ever before, as well as being fast. It handled well and was very energetic, with a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 4.8 seconds. The 5.7-liter V8 engine kept the bar high against the competition. While we are saddened by the end of the Trans Am, we are also glad that such a special and unique car was built in the first place. At number 3 is the 1982 Trans Am. The third-generation Trans Am was released in 1982. In comparison with the previous model, the new one looks completely different. In terms of looks, it's the same one seen in Knight Rider, driven by David Hasselhoff. Despite the car's low power, it makes up for it with a lot of torque on standby, thanks to the revised suspension. Therefore, the 1982 Trans Am never failed to impress. It even had pop-up headlights. At number 2 is the 1989 Trans Am Turbo. Pontiac's reputation was blown through the roof by the success and popularity of the third-generation Trans Ams. Likewise, the 1989 Trans Am Turbo maintained its name and integrity, if not elevated it. The first Trans Am was 20 years old, so a special anniversary edition was developed. In addition to featuring a 3.8-liter turbocharged V6 similar to the Buick GNX, this muscle car had a sought-after design and an almost flawless performance. At number 1 is the 1977 Bandit Trans Am. This Trans Am doesn't have the best acceleration or speed. Nevertheless, it is simply the coolest car, with its styling, the Screaming Chicken logo, and more importantly, its appearance in Smokey and the Bandit. It was one of the hottest cars in 1977. The Trans Am was more than just a car. It was a key part of culture in the 1970s, and it remains one of the coolest cars on the road to this day. Well, there you have it, the top 10 best Trans Am models Pontiac ever made. Let us know what your favorite was. Leave us a comment below. Do us a favor and share this video. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell to be notified of future videos. Again, thanks for watching.